Okay, so now I got that button in. As you can see, I got a little bit of hot glue here. Focus. A little bit of hot glue, and you can see where that button sits. It's just on the inside of the trigger, and when you push it down, you get a nice click. These buttons are pretty forgiving, so no matter where you put them, you're going to get a nice click, so it doesn't really matter. And then I went ahead and did the next step, which is take the longer wire and connect it down here to the TP2 or the TP22, it doesn't matter, both of them are ground, and just kind of run it this way. You can run it above the rumble motor, but it doesn't matter. And then the extra wire, you're just going to take up, and you're going to put it right through that hole and pull it through, and that's about it. So that one's done. Now we're going to need to move on to the other side. This one is just a little bit more tricky. If I can find my dual stage button. I think I might have dropped it. Yep, I did. Okay, so, and this one, like I was saying, is just a little more tricky. This wire is a little bit long for where we need to connect it. It actually goes on the bottom of these 3 pins right here, the short wire, and then the long one's going to be run all the way around down here. And same with this wire, so they're going to be kind of running perpendicular, actually parallel to each other, but in different directions. So I'm just going to pop this button in. Same thing as the other side, just kind of put it in so that way the side of it is pulling towards the outside of the trigger. So if I can kind of show you what I mean here, it's fairly hard. And as you can see, that wire is a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to throw a little bit of glue here and glue it down. It'll make a lot more sense when you have 2 hands. Just put it in there, get it down. Usually what I do is I hold down the trigger to hold the button in place, put a little dab of hot glue, and then run the wire to where I want it to, push my finger on the hot glue, and keep it in place. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see, I just put the button in, held down the trigger, dabbed a little hot glue, put the wire on it, and then just put my finger over it and kept that wire in place. So this wire again is going to be wrapped all the way around, and this other wire is going to connect to that bottom pin. I'm just going to have to twirl it and connect it in, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so now as you can see, I did that. What I usually do is I put a little bit of dab of hot glue right on the edge here. Make sure you don't get into this little window here, and just to keep those wires down, which keeps that button down, which creates a nicer click. So I'm just going to do that real quick. There you go, there's my dab of hot glue. I'm not going to just put my finger on this one, I'm going to leave it as is. Just let it dry and then move on to the next step. So I'm going to do the next step, and then I'm going to show you what I did just because it's easy. So give me 1 sec. Okay, so I just moved these 2 wires, I wrapped it all the way around here and out to the left side of the rumble motor, and then this wire, same thing, ran it all the way around here and then out to the right side of the rumble motor. And once you do that, just kind of bend this wire down a little bit. You'll have this wire on the other side and then this wire on the other side, and flip it around, and now we can make a couple more connections here. So we'll start with the left side. This wire goes to the center pin on the left trigger here. Sorry, my finger's in the way. Let me focus. So that goes there, solder that there. And then these 2 wires, they're pretty simple. The one from the left trigger, which is the one down the bottom, is going to go in the second slot right here. So it's going to go right there. And then this one is going to go in the first available slot, so right here. And then you just do all those 3 connections, and then we'll be pretty much done. We just have to put in our LEDs and connect it all up. So let me do that. Alright, so I got those 3 connections on. As you can see, that one from the back, the left trigger, came around to the second spot. That one came around, and I just kind of pigtailed it up there. And make sure you keep it clear of the second pin there, because you're going to be using that one. The middle pin here, you will not be using. These two pins you will, and then these 3 pins you will be using. So just keep those all clear. And again, middle pin over here, nice and simple. And so now you're at this point where you have dual stage buttons all connected to your chip. So everything's pretty much set to go here. Kind of looks crazy, but it's very nice and neat, orderly. Make sure you keep your wires neat like I have. If you just run them the same way, which you'll probably have to considering the length of them, everything will be fine. And then we'll just pull our controller aside. And what we're going to do here is we're going to actually snip off the inside edge, or these ones, the one that I just bent back, the one towards the top, and then leave the one on the bottom, but snip off a good amount of it, just so that way we can still solder to it, but we're going to be, we don't really need all of it there, so I'll come back and show you what I mean. Okay, so I snipped off the other tab, cut this one a little bit and bent it back. Same with this one. You can even bend this one down just a little more, and that's perfect. So that gives us enough room to solder. This wire is going to be ground, and the bottom one over here is going to be ground. This one's going to the chip, and this one's going to the chip. So what does that mean? Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting the ground of our LEDs to these 2 pins here, and our LEDs are actually going to go on to the bottom trim piece. So this just comes off your controller. Pretty simple. Where you're going to be drilling is right inside this last hole here. I usually drill right in the middle, on each side, but it doesn't really matter. Consistency is key though, because you're drilling on each side and you're drilling from the back side, so it's kind of tough. You're almost blind. But if you drill right in the middle and then you take that same thing to the other side, you'll be fine. They'll come out just fine. What I use is a I forget what size drill bit it is. It is I believe it's an 1/8. Yep, it is a 1/8 inch drill bit. Sorry, it took me a little bit to read it. It's an 1/8 inch drill bit. That equals out to just over 3 millimeters, which is about the size of our LEDs. So, as you can see, we got the LEDs here. The center one here is ground. I'll get into this a little bit more, but if you can see it, the one on the left here is the red LED, the red pin. The way I can tell is it comes to a 90-degree corner on the inside, and it's kind of fat, and the one that's thinner is the green one. So you'll see what I do. I'm actually going to put all of them so that way the red is on the right. So as you can see, that thicker one on the inside is going to be on the right, and then the other one's on the left, and that's the way we're going to do it. So I'm just going to drill the holes here. Hopefully you guys will be able to copy that. As you can see, I just kind of put it right in the middle there, so allow me enough room on either side. And again, consistency is key on both sides. It's this one, the one on the end, and not the middle one, or not the one the closest. It's the one on the end, and you're just going to want to put 2 1/8 inch holes in it. If you need more, if you do mess up, I have a few of them. Just be careful. Mark where you want to drill with like a Sharpie pen or something, some sort of ink, and then just drill away. So I'll show you how mine comes out afterwards. Alright, so mine came out pretty good. I did use an X-Acto knife afterwards to kind of clean it up. So let me show you the back side. This one, as you can see, pretty much in the middle, and this one, it's a little bit higher up, but overall result comes out really nice. So you won't be able to tell if they're just a little bit off. I mean, unless you're really OCD about it. But if you do mess up, just let me know, and I could even send you some pre-drilled. It's not a big deal. It costs you a few bucks or so, and I'll do that. So next step is to take the LEDs and actually put them in the hole and glue them. So I'm just going to use this little stand here, move this out of the way, hopefully show my point, make this easier. So on the left side we have the one with the longer LEDs, the longer wires, and like I was saying before, if this will focus, there we go. Yeah, still not very satisfied with that, but as you can see on the left hand side here, it's starting to come in. But actually, on the right hand side here is the one with the 90-degree on the inside. The other one is a little skinnier. It's really hard to tell, but you can see it in person, and just make sure you know it. On this one, it's a lot easier because on the end, the one that's shorter is the one that's red, the one that's longer is the one that's green, so the shorter one on the inside. And then with this one, they're both the same on the end, so you're going to have to look at it and you're going to have to figure it out. The one on the left here is red, so I'm going to flip it around this way. So red on the right and green on the left. Red is the one with the 90-degree angle. So you can really see it there. It came out pretty good. So, and then shorter one on the right, longer one on the left. Just kind of put it in its hole and align the LED on the right side. Sorry, I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere here. Just trying to get it in. Now when you do, you'll notice the LED comes right through. You want it to come through just a little bit. It really, it's all personal preference. You can use a small flathead screwdriver, kind of push it in a little bit more if you're concerned. And then again, consistency is key. So if this one's a little longer than this one, you want to make sure that you even them out before you glue them. Gluing is really simple. All I do is stick the nozzle of the hot glue gun right to the edge of those leads on the bottom and just kind of glue it, and it'll go all in behind it, and then just release it a little bit, come in front of it, and there's plenty of hot glue on it. So just do that on both sides, and then we'll come back.